Let's see if there's more of it.
Announced that I will be signing an executive order to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance with legitimate medical uses. We have people.
Yeah, we've seen this one before too, but yeah, wow. And
they could reschedule marijuana as a less dangerous drug. Now, that would mean that it would no longer be in the same category with drugs like heroin, LSD.
I mean, heroin and LSD are like way higher scale than marijuana. Like, if you have heroin and marijuana in the same schedule, in the same category, you're being a fucking retard. You're being a retard. Everybody knows these are two massively different things.
Those types of things, it would graduate to the same group as Tylenol with codeine and steroids. Now,
that's nothing, man.
Reclassifying does not mean that recreational marijuana use is going to be legal everywhere, but it does mean that the medical uses of cannabis would be recognized and would make researching it a whole lot easier.
Absolutely.
It could also be a very big win for the cannabis industry. Joining us now is someone who knows that industry very well, founder and CEO of Flow Hub, Kyle Sherman. Kyle, great to see you. So walk us through what reclassifying marijuana like this could actually mean for the cannabis industry.
My dad would be very happy to see this. This is crazy.
And really what this means for cannabis businesses, retailers, growers, manufacturers of infused products, edibles, this means they're not going to have to pay a tax called 280E. And 280E is a crazy tax that was really put in place for federal drug traffickers in the early 80s. And it said, hey, if you're going to try to write off, business expenses for a federally illegal business that you're running, well, then you can't do that. And so the issue here is you've got all these great American businesses, over 40,000 of them across the United States, employing over 500,000 Americans, who basically are penalized using that tax code. And so they're paying upwards of an...
This is something that's been going on for a while. And I think that recently, like, this is something, like, obviously, like, I don't smoke weed. I don't do drugs. I have no intention of ever doing it. Doesn't matter if it was legal or not. I don't drink alcohol. And so, like, to me, I don't give a shit. But at the same time, I think this is obviously a great thing. It is. It's a great thing. Very happy to see this.
Who basically are penalized using that tax.
And, like, sorry, I had to step back because I forgot my train of thought. But what I was going to say is that a lot of people have complained that a lot of the dispensaries that sell medical marijuana are selling at a very, very high rate, which is causing people to buy it off of the black market or off of, like, basically a gray market, the same as they had been for, like, decades before then. And I think that there's like a secondary problem with that, is that if you're doing that and you're buying something that's from, like, a secondary source that's not a, like a verified dealer, that stuff, it could have other bad stuff in it, basically. So, like, if you have something that's technically legal, but the regulations around it make it unfeasible to buy and sell legally, then, you're still going to have the black market, and you're still going to have people that have that happen. Like fentanyl, yeah, like, it's laced with something else. So you see how this also attacks a problem that it basically causes another problem.
Code, and so
it's
they're
like
paying
domino
upwards
effect.
of an 80% effective tax
You
rate.
see what I'm saying?
And what that means is, like, a big alcohol company,
That's nuts.
right, God, he could go right off a
40%?
Super Bowl commercial.
Jesus.
And a cannabis dispensary can't even write off toilet paper. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And we talk about it here in California, but we've seen a lot of the regulation and a lot of the restrictions leading to like this black market for marijuana where it's legal. It's just for some, they find it a lot cheaper to buy the stuff that's not.
So true.
Not necessarily licensed, doesn't really
So
fit
true.
into the regulations, and is grown in places that the state of California would not like to see it grown. Do you see any of what could happen with this reclassification changing that at all?
Yeah, well, look, I think this is the first step in a long time, like I mentioned.
No surprise there.
That we're going to see some changes federally and some recognition that this is a real medicinal product. State law is separate from federal law, right? These are these are truly laboratories of democracy in every single state. Every state's actually uniquely different in how they regulate cannabis. This is a very highly regulated product. In some cases,
I think the entire panic around smoking weed is so fucking retarded that growing up, even I thought it was ridiculous. Like, I remember whenever weed was illegal, and like there would be people talking about it in school, saying like why it should be illegal, and like they're bringing up like the Bible and other stupid fucking reasons like that. And I'm like, what are you talking about, the Bible? Like, it's a fucking plant. If God made everything on the earth, he made this plant too. Like, what do you mean? How can you smoke the plant of tobacco, but you can't smoke the plant of fucking hemp? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And so anyway, I've always thought this was so ridiculous. It's so dumb. And I would even go as far to say that it seems to me, okay, I'm not a fucking expert on this, right? But I have seen way more people ruin their lives over alcohol than I have over weed. And by the way, it's like at a 10-to-1 ratio. Actually, I don't know anybody that's really ever ruined their life explicitly over weed, period.
Probably over-regulated.
So, yeah.
I mean, I often say we actually regulate cannabis, I think, better than we regulate uranium in the United States. Every plant is tagged.
It's ridiculous.
You know, in the grow.
It's such a ridiculous. Like, why is there so much oversight over people smoking cannabis? It's ridiculous.
It essentially, as it moves through the supply chain, you get these batch tags. You know, when leaves fall off the plant in a grow, they're literally sent into the state, the weight of those leaves, all the way through the point of sale when it's.
Think about how ridiculous that is. That's like Karen bureaucracy garbage. Of course, this is dumb.
Sold into retail. So this is an incredibly transparent industry today, you know, and look, at the end of the day, dispensaries, regulated dispensaries check IDs, and we know the illicit market does not. The more that the federal government recognizes how big this industry is, this regulated industry is across all of these U.S. states, you know, look, the better off we are at shutting down the black market. That illicit market exists because there's demand for the product, so we shouldn't overtax it.
He's right.
I'm so glad
he's completely right.
Brought up the IDs.
It's so obvious.
And the black market not checking IDs. I mean, critics of reclassifying marijuana, like they will always say, like, this downplays health risks. It leads to increased use, and then the youth are going to smoke more marijuana.
All of this could be applied to alcohol. So unless you want to regulate alcohol as a Schedule III drug, then I don't want to hear at all about why weed is a unique problem.
How do you respond to that?
It's ridiculous.
I think you got to look back to alcohol prohibition, right? If we're trying.
So true. So true. Like, you know what? Like, it's, yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
Trying to prohibit cannabis in the United States. I mean, there's huge demand for it. I think Al Capone would be all about prohibition, right? I mean, this creates a criminal market. And by regulating the industry, you know, this brings into a much safer position for Americans, right?
One of the things that a lot of like people don't understand is the way that large companies and pseudo monopolies advocate for regulation in order to create a barrier to entry for a market in order for them to effectively have a de facto monopoly on the market. They basically use regulations to pull the ladder up against other competitors so they can't compete because they don't have the large enough scale in order to offset the regulatory costs into their actual, their business. That's what they do.
You don't want kids shopping for cannabis in the streets.
Yeah, it's fucking, obviously.
You know, at all. Like, that's crazy. Drug dealers don't check IDs. And so I always tell critics, look, the regulated market's really important for the future of America. There's demand for this product. That during the height of the war on drugs, it did not stop people from consuming.
No.
Let's make sure we keep it away from kids and we keep it available for adults. You know, look, Schedule III, lastly here.
Exactly.
Gotti, Schedule III doesn't mean a zillion dispensaries are going to open up overnight at all. In fact, it doesn't really do a whole lot other than say, hey, look, we're going to end this punitive tax code, and hey, we're going to open up research. And that's also really great for Americans. You know, really, this is not a pro-cannabis thing. This is not an anti-cannabis thing. This is a pro-reality thing here with Schedule III.
Yeah, of course.
Founder of Flow Hub, Kyle Sherman, really appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Kyle's right.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, he write about all this. Okay, I follow that guy. He knows what he's talking about. And so, yeah, isn't marijuana illegal in some states, though? I'm always confused how the U.S. works. Okay, yeah, it's stupid, right? It's confusing. But, like, that weed is illegal in, what do you call it? It's illegal federally, but there's states that allow it. So unless the federal police come in and go after you for it, then in general, nothing's going to happen. So it's basically like, why would they give a shit about this? Why would they care? And that's pretty much it. You definitely smoke Russia. I don't smoke anything. I don't like the idea of smoking. I find the concept and the process of smoking to be very disgusting, to be honest with you. I think it's disgusting. I don't have any interest in doing it. I think the just the act of doing it is gross. And, you know, again, like, I don't judge other people for doing it. I don't think there's a problem with doing it, but I have no interest in doing it myself. Will this affect anyone in jail? I mean, in my opinion, I don't think anybody should be in jail for any violent marijuana crime. It's like, unless you're selling it to like kids or something like that, I think that all of those people should be immediately let out of jail and replaced with, like, you know, your local shoplifters and problem causers at, you know, CVS. So yeah, what about edibles and THC patches? This is a principle that I have, and in general, I don't like putting things in my body that don't need to be there. Period. So like I drink like soda a lot, but in general, like, I don't like taking any medicine. Like, I don't want to fuck up the homeostasis of my body any more than I already have. So I feel like you have to pick your poison and not pick a dozen different poisons. So I'm already drinking a lot of soda. So let's isolate the amount of problems that I have to just like 1 or 2 rather than like 10. So yeah, that's the way I see it. Yes, opiates are severe. Yeah, of course, right? And this is a great thing. I'm very happy about this.